And then that was my first form of marketing. When I really didn't even know how to spell marketing, I was still marketing. Okay, cool. I've got this money now. I need to put this money somewhere. If someone's going to betray you, they're going to betray you. Regardless. It can be a friend, family, it can be a stranger. If someone has the intention in the back of their head to betray you, they're going to do it. So, why not get into business with your friend, and if they betray you, it was going to happen anyway.
Hello and welcome back to the 5th episode of the Pre-Uni podcast. As always, I'm your host Jamal. Now today, this guest is someone that I've known for a very, very long time. From those days where I had to take the coach at 6 in the morning to some seaside town, I met this boy, this big boy. He was quite good at basketball, loved to talk a bit of trash, but I could see there was something different about him. Especially when I saw him bring in a card reader while selling sweets to other people. He even got other people to start distributing sweets for him as well. No, I'm not talking about Tariq St. Patrick. I'm talking about Mark Chikowe. How are you today, man?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me on the podcast.
No worries, man, anytime. So my first question to you was, what was secondary school like for you?
So, as Jamal explained, we went to school in a seaside town, Southend to be exact. And school, it was interesting. You know, we went to an all-boys school. When we joined the school was labelled as a grammar school / Catholic school. You actually had to do, some people that passed the 11 plus, actually passed the 11 plus and came to this grammar school / grammar school / Catholic school. And yeah, we went there from from year 7 to year 11.
Yeah.
And we met a lot of people, and it was different, you know, going to an all-boys school, you're around a lot of, obviously, boys your age, and it's kind of crazy because you haven't got that feminine energy to kind of level it out. You know, when you're around all boys, things can get a bit crazy.
Yeah.
People might fight, situations
We did fight, by the way.
What, me and you?
No, not me and you.
Oh.
We'll bless, but we'll talk about the shadow boxing ring later.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
I'll say for me, the biggest things I took away from secondary school was like the competitive element around it. You know, it really taught me that like in this world you have to assert yourself, or someone's gonna assert over you per se. It wasn't always about being the loudest, right? Because not everyone in our year group was loud, but it was more about like maintaining your own position. Because guys will test you, bro, and that's something that I've come to appreciate from secondary school as well.
Yeah, definitely. Like what you're saying about the competitiveness of like being in that school with all these boys, that is 100% true. Because whether it comes to sports, whether it comes to school, it's always a competition. And I really do like that aspect which we learned, both of us, from going to that school, because that's something most people don't learn until a lot later on in life. And we learned that from a very young age.
Yeah, but like I mentioned in my intro, you're a very entrepreneurial guy, at least. There were like 3 or 4 people always trying to sell sweets in our school just to get confiscated by a certain teacher, and you'd watch them like start eating your sweets as well, which is kind of crazy. But what made you want to start selling sweets, Mark?
Okay, so I'm going to tell you guys a story of how I started selling sweets at our school in the seaside town. Okay, so I used to buy off a guy in the older year who used to sell sweets at the school as well, and he ended up getting suspended. It wasn't for selling sweets, it was for something else, and I used to buy off him every now and then. And this was a time when I didn't actually understand a lot about business or entrepreneurism, and I just said, wait, he stopped selling sweets. There's all these people. I'm speaking to some of my friends and they're like, yo, he's got suspended, where am I going to buy sweets from? So I'm looking at this like, wow, this is an opportunity for me to fulfill that gap in the market. So I said, okay, after school, finished school, went back home, back in my area, got some money that I had, which was like my school pocket money, might have been £10, £20. Went to the shop, Home Bargains. For anyone that wants to start. Okay, went to the shop, Home Bargains, and saw the stock, the same stock that this person who I used to buy off was selling. And I said, cool, I'm gonna go buy that stock, put my 10, 20 pounds into that, and I bought the stock, brought it to school the next day, and I started selling the sweets. I said, hey, you want sweets? I've got sweets. And I was like, raw. Everyone's like, oh, because at this time, no one else in our year group was selling. It was only the olders that
we were in like year 8, bro.
Year 8, year 9.
I would not expect any 12-year-old to start selling sweets, but first year, innit?
Yeah, and brought the bag to school, my big duffel bag, my big knack bag, the black big knack bag. That bag is iconic. I even held so many sweets in that knack bag that the knack bag ended up ripping, and I had to buy another one in like year 7. Because I remember I sold sweets, drinks.
Oh, you had like a cooling bag as well for the drinks.
I had a cooler bag for the drinks because one thing I realised was all these people that were selling sweets, drinks, biscuits.
They were amateurs, bro.
They were amateurs. When they're standing next to me, they were amateurs quite clearly. And I realised, wait, no one likes lukewarm Lucozade. No one likes warm drinks. Everyone likes a cold drink. Okay, you want your drink and you've got the little, what's it called, the water condensation coming down. That's what everyone wants. You want a cold drink, especially if it's summer as well, even in the winter. But yeah, so I said, okay, cool. I've got a cooler box. I've got this stock. I've got my big night bag, the iconic one, and I started selling it, and it sold out. And then I went back to the shops the next day, did the exact same thing, bought the stock again, and it sold out. And I'm like, wow. I made about maybe 20, 30 pounds profit my first week, and I was like, I'm gonna do this again next week. I reinvested the profit, bought more stock, sold more stock, and I repeated that same process, and got to a point where I realised I need to actually do this on a bigger, better scale. And at this time I had actually started learning a little bit more about business, watching people online that make content for entrepreneurs. I watched a guy called Gary Vee, if you know about Gary Vee. He makes a lot of content about business, and once I started doing that, whilst also selling the sweets, I said, okay, let me take this more seriously. I told my mum about it, and she actually supported me. She was actually okay. She was like, cool. And then I was like, Mum, I need to go to Costco, because one of my friends that I was selling sweets to said, Mark, you should go to Costco. That's where you can buy stuff in bulk. I'm like, cool, okay, I'm gonna go to Costco.
Was it Kamal who told you that?
It wasn't Kamal, it was Eddie Groves.
Oh, shout out Eddie Groves.
Shout out to him. So yeah, Eddie had told me, yeah, go to Costco, buy sweets from there. I was like, okay, cool. I took that on board, went to my mum and said, Mom, can we go to Costco, please? And if you know anything about Costco, you need to have a Costco card to enter the place. And obviously you got to pay for a Costco card. And my mum, shout out to my mum, I love her very much. She took me to Costco that week or the week after, and I bought about 50 to 100 pounds worth of stock, and I just started selling again, obviously repeating the same process. And watching more of Gary Vee. Gary Vee is an expert marketer. He's so great at marketing, and he would always talk about creating content for your business, because a lot of businesses, I actually currently run an agency as well. A lot of businesses, a marketing agency to be exact, don't know how to integrate social media into their business in order to promote and market their business further. They're used to all these old school newspapers, TV adverts, but nobody cares. It's all about using social media, because people, they're on their phones all day. If you're posting content on social media, they're going to see your content, and that's going to lead to them eventually buying your products which you're selling. So, knowing this, I'd gone to Costco, come back home, I had a bunch of stock, about £100 worth of stock at age 13, 14, and I was like, I have to take a picture of this.
Yeah, and I remember seeing that picture.
I have to take a picture of this. I said, okay, cool, I have to take a picture of this. And I had all the people that were buying stock. I made a new Instagram account, and I named my business Sweet Shotters. I named it Sweet Shotters. And I'm not going to tell you what exactly that means. If you know what that means. But yeah, so I named it Sweet Shotters and created an Instagram page for it. Started using the Instagram. I followed everyone that from my school in my year group that I was selling to, that bought sweets from me.
Your local customers.
Yes. My clients, yes. And I made the Instagram account, followed all of them. Some of them followed me back. I posted the picture, posted it on my personal Instagram page as well. Got some traction, and then that was my first form of marketing. When I really didn't even know how to spell marketing, I was still marketing. So that's how that started off. So I made the Instagram page, started posting on there. And people started messaging me, hey Mark, can you save this for me on Monday? Can I get a Lucozade?
Pre-ordering sweets for lunchtime is absolutely diabolical, but GG's bro, GG's.
It's crazy. People were pre-ordering sweets, like you said, because I'd post on a Saturday or a Sunday, typically a Sunday night, just before Monday, because Monday morning was the best day because everyone has their pocket money that their parents gave to them. They have a little extra £5 after they've bought their bus ticket or their train ticket. So Monday morning was the most active for me. So I post it on Sunday, I get pre-orders, and it's a form of marketing. People know, okay, cool, this guy's going to be there on Monday with his big bag of sweets. I'm going to go to him. And it even got to a point where certain people would come to me and say, Mark, I come to you into the corner shop now because if I go to the corner shop, I'm going to be late for school, and you're there, you're convenient, and your drinks are cold, and you've got best. So it was like, and I was marketing myself. That's the key thing, marketing. I actually took the time out to market my school sweet selling business, which wasn't really a legal business anyway. I mean, it's not illegal, but it wasn't like a registered company, but I was still marketing the business and I was still putting out advertisements to my customers.
I think that's very important. Like when you look at the other guests I've had on the podcast, in particular Sydney, my first guest, Taha, my third guest, and I'd say Samson as well, my fourth guest. All of them know how to market themselves very well, which is why I'm telling you guys in school, get on LinkedIn, because it's all well and done, doing 3-4 A levels, getting your A stars, going on all these work experiences. But you're not going on these work experiences just to brag about it to your Marge back home. Like, I'm telling you, she loves you, bro, but she's not gonna give you that nice, cushy job. But by putting yourself out there onto other platforms, you can now create an audience. People can start to see what you're on about and can reach out to you if necessary. Like for example, I was able to get my I actually went to a photo shoot yesterday because I made a video talking about how I didn't like my LinkedIn picture. I got someone to do some branding for me for the my TikTok and my social media brand, just because I was posting about these things. So I get wanting to be private and all of that, but marketing yourself is clear, fam. Samson marketed himself on Twitter so well that he had D1 scholarships to play football from Harvard, Princeton, Yale, UPenn. So he had options. So like, if you don't know how to market yourself, you're cut. So you better learn how to do that, isn't it?
And one thing I do want to say is shout out to Samson, because he had the vision. Him and his mom and his family, they had the vision and we went to school in the local areas as him. So it's amazing.
Yeah, everyone knew everyone in Southend.
It was amazing to see him take that big leap, and that's what he did. He took a risk, because it is a risk to fly overseas to a country you've never been to.
By yourself as well.
By yourself, without people you know. He took that risk and he prospered. So shout out to Samson, and what you're saying about him using Twitter or social media to market himself and get all these scholarships. Round of applause to him. And that's something that we should start doing. We should start celebrating people that are winning and people that we know as well. We should all be using that to motivate us to want to do more.
Yeah, I agree with that, but unfortunately our school didn't celebrate you, being the biggest sweet seller in Southend. So how did you get bagged and what did you learn from that whole experience?
Yeah, I want to touch upon you saying that I didn't get celebrated. And one thing about business is you don't get celebrated with people clapping for you. You get celebrated in the profits.
He's cooking.
The profits is your celebration. When you're making money in, I don't need anyone to clap for me. And even what you're saying about when I got caught selling by the teachers and I had to stop for a period of time, because obviously I carried on, you know what I'm saying. But yeah, when I got caught, I got caught and I had like £300-400 and I was 14 years old. To me, that was like $1 million, bro. I had that £300-400 in my hand. I was taking pictures of it. I put it on my ear. I was doing money spreads. It was amazing. That was my celebration. I didn't need anyone to clap for me. But what was the question?
What did you learn from it? But I feel like it's important because I feel like that showed you that like you can really reap the fruits of your labour, isn't it? I feel like, you know, a lot of people, it's hard for you to work hard here without seeing that reward, but having that as such an early experience of seeing, you know, your endeavour prosper, that must have done a lot, and it makes sense to why you've like gone on to like found your own record label, marketing agency, all of that. But the question was, what did you learn from like getting bagged and that whole sweet selling experience?
Yeah, I learnt that. Well, I'm not going to touch too much upon getting caught selling sweets or getting bagged. That was just kind of inevitable. You know, you're going to get caught one day if you're doing something you shouldn't be doing because it was against the school rules.
Do you think that people should be allowed to sell sweets in school though?
No, I don't think they should.
Okay, why not?
Because, I mean, for one, sweets are not healthy. That's
true.
the first thing. And for two, I don't think it's because people always talk about how schools should be encouraging business and entrepreneurialism, and I don't agree with that. I think if you're really a businessman, if you're really an entrepreneur, I mean, if you're really a basketball player, if you're really anything, you're going to do that thing.
Or regardless of the environment you're in.
Yeah. And I do think that if it was a thing where we were allowed to sell sweets in school, that sort of thing, I think another thing as well from the business standpoint would
More
be
competition. For those of you that do A-level economics, he's talking about perfect competition here. No stocking home bargains, super low prices, like, 100%.
Exactly. And so it'd be, the market would be saturated, it would be, I probably wouldn't be able to make much profit, if any. And I think everything is the way it is for a reason. But like I said, if you really want to do something in life, you're going to do it. And that's that.
That's very true. Probably you made it like a lot more special, you know, to like go out of your way to sell sweets. Because A, it wasn't allowed, so like there's that risk element. And B, no one was selling sweets apart from these big olders, like year 10 and year 11, bro. So that was like very fair. So,
and I want to talk about that as well. So obviously I was a young boy in this business, and I remember one day someone came up to me and said, they said, Mark, you're selling these sweets, but there's also like some older guys in the school that are selling sweets. Like, what are you gonna do if they come and they try and rob you? Because that's a possibility. They might see me. I'm a small boy.
Over sweets is like nasty, but
it could happen. Especially at our school. That was a possibility.
That's actually so true.
That was a possibility. And he asked me, yo, Mark, what are you gonna do if someone comes up to you and they try to take your sweets or they try to take your money? I'm gonna say, and I said to him, I won't let that happen. And I think, and it wasn't a thing where I was a very violent young kid. I didn't really get into many fights, so I wasn't super violent. I did boxing, but I wasn't like going around trying to fight people or punch people for no reason. And I said to him, I won't let that happen. I said to him, if that situation comes about, I'm gonna fight for my stock. I'm gonna fight for this business. I took it so seriously. I want people to understand, like you said, I had a card reader. Like, I took this so seriously. I really ran this business like my life depended on it. Like with the marketing, to having a card reader, to having a cooler box so the drinks were cold. Some of the drinks were so cold, it was its slushy consistency. So some of my customers, some of the guys in our year group that would come and buy sweets from me, would say, hey Mark, can I get the slushy one though? Let me get the slushy one. Because that's the one they wanted. But I just took it so seriously, and I think that's what a lot of people are lacking out here. They're not serious about what they're doing, and I was so serious about what I was doing. Hence why I had the cooler box. Hence why I had the card reader. Hence why I came to school early. I'd wake up sometimes 5, 6 a.m. just to get to school early so I could make sales in the morning.
Yeah, I think that's so important. Like, I remember telling my mum about you as my guest, isn't it? So I was like, oh, you know, we're gonna talk about how he sold sweets in school. And she looked at me like I was crazy, like, you know, because lots of people try and sell sweets in school. I was like, Mom, he had a card reader. She was like, fair enough. So just like, I feel like whatever you do, don't be afraid to try hard and go all in. I feel like it takes a certain vulnerability to like expose yourself and say, oh, I want to do this full time. But don't like half-ass it, basically. Like, I'm saying like try and push yourself, because that's where the games are made, first of all, and that's where like you really take it seriously. Like a lot of people, yeah, of course, they would start selling sweets one day, but then they'd get bored of it, or like they wouldn't make any sales. But to see that you took it seriously and clearly it's paid off, I'd say that was very good, and it's clear that it was like a very formative experience for you, wasn't it?
It taught me so much about business. Like selling sweets in school is like, as little as it may seem, like that was really the foundation of the person I am today. Like if I didn't sell sweets in school, I'd be a totally different person. Totally different person.
Yeah, I think that's great to hear. It also shows that you like exercised a lot of high agency. And what I mean by that is that it shows that you decided to make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. Like a lot of people, and I was like this as well, you blame your teachers for your bad grades, you blame your school, you blame that your house is noisy, but if you really want to make something happen, it's always possible for you to make it happen. Like you have to be resourceful and like mold your environment so that it's conducive towards your goals, always. So I feel like we've learned quite a bit from your sweet selling endeavors. So what was your next entrepreneurial endeavor?
Okay, then we hit lockdown, so I had to stop selling sweets because we weren't even in school, and I started learning a lot more about business along with other things, and I stumbled into sneaker reselling. 2020.
Oh yeah, oh my, you are cold at this as well, bro. Karen.
Yeah, so 2020 I started sneaker reselling and started watching loads of content on it, and I said, okay, I can do this. I've done it with the sweets, let me do it with the shoes. And I started doing that, made some money from it, and then I got scammed. So I got scammed on an app called Vinted, which is still going today, and someone sold me fake shoes, and then I got my money back.
Wait, sorry, how did you know they were fake? Well, what shoes are we talking about?
These were
sneakers out there.
For sure. This was a pair of Jordan 11. They were red Jordan 11s. Red Jordan 11s.
I can picture
with the icy sole. With the icy
the
sole.
blue one. Well, not blue, but
yeah, icy sole. That's what they're called. Yeah. So the red Jordan 11s, really nice pair of shoes. They were fake. And how did I know they were fake? Because during that period of time selling shoes, I became a sneakerhead. So I could tell. I could tell from the box, the label. I could tell from the insoles. I could tell by the laces.
Stitching as well.
The stitching. So I really had an attention to detail.
So it wasn't Jordan on the front cover then? It was Jeremy Lin.
Yeah, it was Jeremy Lin. It was Dwight Howard, in fact. But yeah, so I could just tell the shoe was fake. And then there was also an app called Check for sneakerheads that know, whereby you can get shoes authenticated via the app. I used the app and it came back fake. So then I got reimbursed my money. But after that experience, I said to myself, which I don't like to have any regrets or say I should have done this, but I stopped sneaker reselling. I kind of used that as an excuse to myself. I don't know why I did, but I was young, 14, 15 years of age, and I said, okay, I'm going to stop sneaker reselling for whatever reason. I said, okay, I'm just going to learn about business, and that's what I did. And then
how much was it, by the way? How much did you pay for them?
Only about £100, and I was going to sell them.
100, bro.
I was
bro, until like sixth form, yeah, I'd never seen 100, bro. I'm not trying to say anything, like, of course my mum like kept me fed and was putting money in the trust fund or whatnot, but 100 like cash, bro, that's like taking a piece of me, bro. So I can understand why you stopped in it, but why do you regret stopping? Like, because also as well, a lot of people that I talked to that used to sell sneakers, because that was another big thing in Southend as well. Shout out Flips Kicks, if you know, you know. But yeah, so why did you want to continue sneaker selling, even though it wasn't like a lucrative market per se?
No, 2020, the sneaker market in the UK was extremely lucrative. People only started hopping onto the sneaker reselling in about 2022, late 2021. So 2020, that was the prime time, but I guess it was just a thing where I was young and I had a bit of money, so I was I think it was me being complacent at age 14. I just said, nah, I'm cool with this, I got scammed. Let me just save my money, keep it there, and let me just learn more about business, which I did.
Okay, that's very fair then. So, what did you move on to next then? Wait, sorry. So, you made around £300 and £400. Let's keep a tally with me, the audience here. You made around £300 to £400 from selling sweets. How much did you make net profit, net revenue, whatever,
From selling sweets?
From selling sneakers.
Maybe like £400 or £500.
Fair, so like you're moving up in it.
Yeah.
So what was the next?
And then after that, what I started doing was, 2021 came, and then we got back into school. This was late 2021.
Oh yeah, this is when I started taking the train as well. I was hearing as well how lit the train was, bro. Water fights, bro. Drama, like any reality TV show that you think is lit, yeah. Hopping on that train from 2017 to 2022 was completely trumps all of that, but side note. So I was hearing, so I started taking the train as well, and side note, yeah. When I always talk about taking risk and doing that thing, yeah, I had mad social anxiety when I took the train. Because when you take coach, yeah, it's a nice, cushy environment, yeah. People are a lot more timid because, of course, I feel like as a parent, you send your child on coach because you don't want them to get roughed up on the train. And you want to make sure they get to school safely as well. But taking train, yeah, the kids were a lot bigger. Around so many guys out here were already like 6'3", 6'4". As 15-year-olds, by the way, so many more people as well from all 4 of the like grammar schools. So I was nervous, bro. So when people ask me how to get involved in content creation, yeah, I just say start, because by being thrown into the deep end, by being on train, it forced me to learn how to be more social. Yeah. You know, I wasn't seeing the same group of people like I would on the coach all the time. I wasn't seeing people from my school. I had to learn how to like communicate more effectively. So that's one thing I will always be grateful to you for my mother, is sending me to Southend and for a laugh at helping me to take train, because boy, prime character development. But
talking about taking train, I've actually got a story for you, because what you said about coach being a lot more comfortable is safer. You're on a coach with all school kids. You've got the coach driver, which knows everyone's familiar. But it's train. It's not just school kids. It's like the public as well.
Oh yeah.
So I've got a story. So we used to play on the same basketball team at our school, and one day we had finished either basketball practice or a basketball game. It was on the way back onto the train, and I'd got on the train like normal, and got onto the train. I see this guy. I walk onto the train. He looks at me. I look at him. He's just sitting down normal. And I held eye contact with him for maybe like 3 to 5 seconds. And I'm walking down the train. So he's sitting here. I pass through him. I go past him. And he's like, yo! And I turn around, because I thought he's talking to me. So I turn around. He's like, who's that? Who's that? And then he starts trying to show something that he had on his side, whatnot. And I was 15.
Oh,
I was 15 at this time, and I'd never been in a situation where someone's actively trying to threaten my life. And I'm just trying to tell him, yo, I put my hands up like this. I'm 15 years old. He's got something on him that he certified he has something on him, and I'm like, no, I'm a school kid, and I wasn't wearing school uniform because it was after basketball practice. I'm like, I'm a school kid, I'm chilling. And then he kind of just went down, and I went down the train, and it was all cool. But like you're saying, being on the train, it puts you in a whole nother environment that lets you know that. Because I think one thing school doesn't do, which it's actually not meant to do, but one thing it doesn't do is allow students to kind of experience the harsh realities of life. For example, we had a lot of kids at our school that they would be disruptive, naughty, devious, but they'd do every bad thing a child can do in school. They would do it, and they'd get let off chance after chance after chance, until some kids would finally get kicked out. But some kids that were still there at the end of year 11, really and truly, they should have been gone in year 7, because their behaviour was crazy. But when you're out in the public and you're behaving in a certain way, someone's going to sort you out, or the police is going to sort you out. The law's going to sort you out.
True.
So definitely being out on the train, it kind of allowed me to understand the harsh realities of life, know that, hey, you don't actually know everybody, and there are dangers to life.
I guess it also taught you there's like a certain etiquette as well while being in public. In school, bro, the worst thing that our school did at least was they slap you in isolation. And that was the wrong, that's kind of mad as well, because these people clearly don't want to be in lesson. So taking them away from that, that's low-key what they want for real. So what do you feel like then school is meant to do?
I think school is meant to encourage creativity and allow free thinking. But schools will not do that, because schools were not made to encourage those things. Schools were made, initially school was put in place to create factory workers, because it was made in the industrial revolution, and it was made so that kids could sit in a classroom and learn to be obedient so that they could be good factory workers to boost the economy up, because it was factories were what was really boosting economies, and that's where it started. So school does not encourage free thinking and creativity. That's something you have to do and learn and find outside of the classroom.
I disagree though, and here's why. I feel like I can understand what you're saying from like the state school perspective, because a lot of people here, even GCSEs and A-levels, just use your Anki flashcards, memorize stuff, guaranteed A at least. But I feel like when you go into like the higher quality schools, I'm talking private schools, certain grammar schools, because let's not sleep on like Westcliff and Argate, bro. We were playing the generational miracles in every single sport, but that's different. And these men were smart as well. So I feel like certain school environments will generally push you. They will give you the growth that's needed, right? There was certain people like at Westcliff, for example, would be doing national athletics, you know. I think for our year group, they broke the national record for sports. And then they'd go home and then they'd do some revision as well of it as well.
Yeah.
Even Oxford and Cambridge, like, they're not looking just for like straight A's and A stars really. That's mainly to see whether you can like cope with the workload. They're looking for, like you're saying, free thinkers. So I do feel like while the average school may not encourage these values, a true learner will, like you say, seek them out. There's a certain creativity in all subjects, especially the mathematics, the STEM subjects as well. But continue.
Yeah, I get the point where you're coming from, but the point is, most schools are not like that. Most schools are not like that. There are the rare few, the private schools. Private schools are amazing. I want to send my schools, I aspire to send my schools, and I will send my kids to these private schools, because I want them to be in the best environments, in the best learning places, and get the best education they can. And yeah.
Okay, that's very fair. So we went on a little bit of a side tangent, but back to your next entrepreneurial endeavor post-lockdown.
So post-lockdown, we came back into school, and of course I started selling sweets again. And this time I just ran the same operations that I was doing before, posting the content on Instagram, getting pre-orders, had my card machine, cooler box. I might have added a couple new products that I would buy from the shops that I was getting my stock from, but really and truly, business is pretty boring. Like, all businesses are pretty boring, most of them anyways, because it's just operations and then executing those operations in an efficient manner. That's all it really is. If your business has all the operations in place, you're gonna flourish. It's just a matter of time. And I was doing everything right, correctly, for the most part. And yeah, and it really taught me, coming back after lockdown, it really taught me consistency, because there'll be some days when I wouldn't, or some weeks when I wouldn't post pictures of the stock that I'd bought, which was my marketing. So I'd miss out on my marketing for the week. Maybe I wouldn't come to school on time. Maybe I wouldn't be in the right places. And I'd see, okay, if I don't make that post on Sunday, I'm gonna make less sales on Monday. So it really taught me consistency. That's another key thing that I learned from selling sweets in school, is you have to be consistent in whatever you're doing. If you're not consistent, then it's just gonna fall down. And that's what I'd realized. Some weeks I had better weeks than others, simply because I would miss out some of those operations. So all business really is just operations, and then executing those exact operations. And yeah.
But after selling sweets then, I'm sure that you'd want to try something else, try something new, for example.
And I did.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, so after selling sweets in about 22, so we'll talk about after year 11, because year 9, when we came back after lockdown to year 11, I was really just selling sweets. Actually, that's a lie. In year 11, I started I was reselling, so I'd already started sneaker reselling, and then I got more into selling electronics and that sort of thing. So, and this is a story that I've actually never told, so you guys are in for something.
Wow.
So, as I got into reselling electronics and all types of things, I had so many products in my house. I was on eBay. So this was the process I'd do. I'd find products on Facebook Marketplace for cheap. I'd source them on Facebook. So let's say I might type in electronics on Facebook Marketplace in my local area. And then I'd go with my mum, shout out to my mum, she really helped me out within all this process. She'd drive me to the locations, because on Facebook Marketplace, people list products on there, and then you go collect it from their house, you give them the cash, they give you the product. That's how it works. So my mum would drive me to the houses, I'd pick up the products for, let's say I bought a monitor, a computer monitor for £20, and then I'd look at it. Before I buy the monitor, I'd check the prices on eBay, and also I just check the market to see. I'd buy undervalued products, sellers that just want to, sellers that just want to get rid of old things in the house, and then relist it on Facebook Marketplace and on eBay and on Gumtree. And I'd list all the products on there. I'd come home, take photos of the products, put them on the platforms.
That's very fair, bro.
And
what made you want to get into this business model?
It was so similar to sneaker reselling. So it wasn't even like a change really. It's all I was doing at the time, which is buying products and selling. It's all the same. Sneaker reselling, selling sweets in school, and then reselling electronics. It's really just buying low and selling high. The easiest business model to get into. Buying and selling, buying and selling. Buy low, sell high, buy low, sell high. That's all it was. And I got into that. And so here's the story. My birthday comes along. I had some money saved up from selling sneakers plus selling sweets in school. Mainly selling sweets in school. I think the sneaker money, I spent all of that during lockdown or something. But I had some money from sneaker reselling, and it was my birthday. So it was my 15th birthday, I'm pretty sure, or 16th, one or the other. And so I had about £500 to my name at the time. And then I also had my birthday money, which might have been £250, maybe £300. I can't remember the exact figure, but it was between £200 to £300. So then I had £800 in total. And I'm the type of guy that's like, okay, cool. I've got this money now. I need to put this money somewhere. I'm not just going to put it under my bed and sleep. No, I need to put this money to work. I need to actively flip this cash. How am I going to turn this £800 into 1.6k? That's what was going through my mind. So what I did was, I was online, I was watching videos about buying stuff off these wholesalers. So buying stuff from wholesalers. So there's something called Amazon returns pallets. So these are all the products that get returned back to Amazon, and then Amazon then sells it to these wholesalers for a very cheap price. So when you make a return to Amazon, and some people, they might buy, let's say for example this mic, use it one time, and then say, oh, okay, I don't really want it. They'll send it back to Amazon, and then Amazon will then have those products, and then they sell it to wholesalers, and then these wholesalers will have all these Amazon returns. It might be microphones, it might be stands, it might be chairs, it might be computers, all these different Amazon returns, and then you can then buy these big pallets from these wholesalers, and then once you get the products, you then list it on these platforms, and you can make loads of money from it. So
how much starting capital though with one of these wholesalers? Because it's cheap here, but we're talking economies of scale here, so it'd be cheap per unit.
Yeah.
But how much would it cost for like a whole package, for example?
I'm gonna get to that. So I then went on to the wholesalers and I found some pallets. I think one pallet was a electronic returns, mixture of loads of different stuff. There were some crazy items in there. Some items that were not PG-13. Let's keep it like that. Let me tell you that there were some crazy items in that returns pallet. I was like, raw. So cool.
How old were you, bro?
15. I should have not been touching some of them products. Pause. Listen. So essentially.
Wait, and your mum drove you to pick them up?
No, this was a returns pallet that I bought. So this got
delivered
you
buy
to
it
my
online.
house.
Oh,
buy it online, gets delivered to you like a big pallet like this. Like you can take up the whole space of the chair. If you've ever seen like a wooden pallet, you know how big they are, and it's got a big box on it with all the products in. So I bought this. So I think one of the pallets was like £300, so I bought that. And then I think I just got a bit excited. I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna make so much money. So I bought two. So I spent about £600-700 on these returns pallets. And then one day, my dad's at home, I'm at school, I get home, and my dad's just like, Mark, why did you buy this big box? What is it? And I'm like, Dad, it's the products that I'm selling. And he was getting a look, and I walk in the house, I just see my whole, like, I've got a living room in my house, and I've got like another little room that's
Like a
going
parlour.
towards, like a playroom, you call it, whatnot. But in the playroom, just filled the whole sofa in the playroom, like a sofa bigger than this sofa, maybe like an extra metre that way, filled with products, the hallway filled with
So
products.
you open the box.
You open the box, you had to take them all because it couldn't fit through the door. So you had to take all the products out one by one, put them. He's like, Mark, what are these products? I'm like, I'm selling them then. and then the next day, the other one gets delivered, and then he does it again. He's like, Mark, why have you got so many products? And I'm like, I'm selling them then.
Your calm voice is killing me, bro.
And then, so now I've got like, no joke, maybe like 500 different products in my house, just in my conservatory.
Or electronic.
Electronics, some non-PG-13 products, loads of different products, and yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, so we did that, and then I had to start listing the products now. And this is where it gets tedious. Because imagine you've got maybe like 300 to 500 products in your house, and you have to list them one by one because most of them are different products. So that was something I had to do, and essentially I ended up not listing all the products. It took a very long time, and after that, what I had to do is I actually stopped listing the products, and then I continued selling sweets in school, but then because I had all these and I also had GCSEs at the time as well.
Oh, yeah.
So I had all these things that I had to cover, but it was getting super difficult. But essentially, I got it done. I sold the products, even after feeling like I've just wasted £700 of my money, which was like 80-90% of all the cash that I had at that time, and I got the job done, and that was what it was.
What was the margin like? Did you make a profit?
Oh yeah, I made a profit. So I bought about £700 worth of product. I think I made maybe after in revenue about 1.5 from it.
800 clean.
Yeah.
That's like
about
double what
1.5.
you got from.
Yeah, I definitely doubled my money. Yeah.
I mean, fair.
But that did take about 6 months. That took about, for people to sell it, people to buy it, and then me to then ship it out to people. It took about 6 months for me to sell all that stock. And I've still got some of the stock at home today, and some of it just got thrown away because it's not sellable. Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy, bro. Hello. Now you might be wondering why we're wearing different clothes and why the lighting's a little bit different, but we took a little hiatus and now we're back. So, Mark, continue on your endeavours, on your electronic reselling flipping business.
Yeah, so I had bought the bulk pallets, the Amazon return bulk pallets, and they had arrived. And it took me about 6 months to sell them. Once I had sold all the stock, I had about 1.6k that I made from that. But being a young man, I was financially irresponsible and ended up spending a lot of that money on BS, to be quite frank with you.
What do you mean by BS though?
Just rubbish. I don't know. I might buy some sweets, buy some what do you call it? Some clothes that I didn't really need. Just buy a bunch of rubbish, to be honest. And I wasn't saving a lot of my money. I became very financially irresponsible because it's almost first time in my life I ever saw over £1,000 in my account. I got a bit excited. I'm like, oh my days. I remember taking screenshots of it, like, yeah, look at this full thing. You know what I'm saying? So that was that. And then after that, I had then started learning a lot more about business. In fact, I actually then started working with my cousin who runs a media company.
What's the name of your cousin's business?
It's called On the Moving Wave. Shout out to my cousin.
Shout out to him. And why did you decide that working with your cousin was the next best step for you?
Well, I knew that experience is key, and I've got a mindset that's always telling me to just get stuck in there, get my foot through the door, and not be scared to fail. I think people tend to be scared to fail a lot of the time, and that's something that I defeated in my earlier ages. So he had come to me with a proposition because he goes to Amapiano music events, and he films there. So he's a videographer. He films at the events, and then he began running a page called Asambe. You can find it on Instagram, TikTok, and even YouTube. And we started this in 2022, towards the end of that year. And I was working for him for absolutely, I was free labour. My cousin just came to me and said, Mark, I need these clips done, let's work. I haven't got the cash right now to pay you, but if we continue with this and it becomes something that's lucrative for him, and the page is growing, which is the main thing, getting that attention and engagement on the pages, then he'll be able to start paying me. So I worked for 3 months for him for absolutely free. I was doing free posts on each social media platform. If you're a social media manager or a content creator, you know doing 3 posts a day on 3 different platforms is a lot of work. And I was editing that content. So not just posting the content, but actually also editing the content. And yeah, so I did that for 3 months for free for him. And we had one video on TikTok go viral. I think it got about 600,000 views. And the page grew to about 11,000 followers on the TikTok page. Overnight, it was crazy. And the page started getting a lot of traction. And today, that same YouTube page that we built is now getting monetized. It's got over the monetization limits.
That's cold.
Yeah, so I helped him build that up, and then once I did that for my cousin, he started paying me. I started making money from it. Then he started referring me to people that needed content. Even I worked with a girl that had her own podcast, and
that's why you should make sure you follow here, bro. Right now we're at like 160, but we need 1K and 4K watch hours if you want to see your boy get some bread. You might have been complaining about the mics, the lack of frequency, but help me so I can help you in it. That's all I'm saying.
Exactly. Make sure you subscribe. So I started he referred me to some other people, and I started working with them. I was managing her YouTube page, just clipping up the podcast clips and then posting it as YouTube shorts. Helped her grow a little bit on her page. And then now we're into 2023, so this was my first year of sixth form actually. So I was doing that with my cousin whilst working with a couple of his friends, like the podcast girl.
Oh yeah, so you're getting paid from these separate clients?
Yeah, so as soon as we got into like 2023, January times, then I started getting paid. So I was getting paid from my cousin and also from the people that he was referring me to. It was putting a little bit of money in my pocket, it was nice, and it was becoming quite lucrative for me to do it. And then so what I started learning about was social media marketing. So I then started my own SMMA business, my own marketing agency, and the service which I was providing to businesses was social media management. So social media management is simply posting content on pages, engaging with comments, DMs, and just building up the pages. So yeah, I started offering that as a service to businesses. My first client that I ever signed was a construction company down in Kent. And yeah, so I was cold calling. I was doing a lot of cold calling on my phone. I was doing so much cold calling that I bought a second phone to do cold calling on. And then with that second phone, I'd have like 5 SIM cards because the SIM cards kept on getting blocked.
Because you were calling.
I was calling so much from these non-commercial SIM cards that they thought I was doing illegal activity, so they kept on blocking all my SIM cards.
Crazy, bro.
And then I started.
How much did you spend on SIM cards?
Oh, SIM cards are cheap. They send them to you for free, and then you just pay for the.
Oh.
You pay for the phone subscription, so that wasn't an issue, but. Then I did more research about the business, which is key. So if whatever field you're in, you should always be researching and learning and educating yourself. Education doesn't just stop in the classroom, but also when you're outside the classroom, when you finish school, you're still learning. Like I speak to a lot of older people, and the people that are really doing well, they're the people that always say, I'm always learning. Like I finished school 20 years ago, but I'm still learning. So
big facts. There's a lot I want to unpack there. So first off, yeah, let me tell you guys, real ones will already know this because I told this story before, but I'm going to tell my story on the pod. I chose the name J5 Studies, yeah, not because I like studying. In fact, ask my mother, yeah, me and the revision textbooks have a bit of a love-hate relationship. But the reason I chose J5 Studies was because I like to study the things around me. I feel like if you talk to most experts about any field, whether it's basketball, cooking, you know, running a business, they can break it down into a perfect science, you know, something that can be studied. So I chose the name J5 Studies here because I want to be able to go through my experiences, whether it's school, whether it's basketball, whether it's running my podcast, and be able to break down the lessons and the experience for you to consume basically. And that's what I see in a lot of my community as well. It's not just the average brain what you see on TikTok. We're having intellectual discussions, we're having playful banter with each other, we're just learning and studying as a group. And I want to create a culture where you truly see that knowledge leads to power. The application of knowledge is the single most important thing. That's why we say that you pay attention to things, you know, because attention as itself is a currency. And once you dedicate that attention to accumulating knowledge, I believe that honestly you're set for life. Like I watched this one time, this YouTube video, and it was saying that if any one of us, like non-entrepreneurs, were given like the CEO handle of Nike, that company's going bust. Because we don't have the knowledge in order to maintain that, isn't it? That's why when you see a lot of lottery winners, they get the money and then 5 years later, they're back in the same position. Because they don't have the knowledge in order to deal with all of these things as well. So accumulating knowledge, shouldn't just be, oh, I want to get into Oxbridge. Oh, I want to get these grades for this career. No. Knowledge should be for every part of your life as well. When you're 18 as well, and let's say you're looking for a relationship, why are you spending more time trying to get the best grades for something that's like short term, but you're not putting that same energy into learning what it's like to be a good father, for example, in order to get married, in order for your diet plan? Grades and school are very, very important. I would always say that. But I would also say that you should put that same amount of time into learning things that aren't necessarily academic. Because at the end of the day, we're all learners. That's my first point. The second point is speaking to older people. Because this is one thing I'm always grateful to my parents for, Of course, you know, I loved watching Ben 10, Amazing World of Gumball, all these shows, like, they were my bread and butter. Probably the reason I didn't bang the 11 plus, and that's why we were at ST a minute. But one thing I always saw my parents do, was that, you know, I'd be watching documentaries with them in the living room. My dad loved watching Sky News, you know. It was kind of weird, you know, we'd be in like his car, and he'd just be playing LBC. So all of these things, I wouldn't say they necessarily made me smarter, you know. I don't want to do the Jaden Smith thing and be like, look at all these teenagers, let's talk about the political, economic state of the world. But I'll say
don't do that.
It really helped to mature me a lot quicker, isn't it? I got used to talking to adults and picking up adult level vocabulary. So don't be afraid to indulge in things that might seem a bit too grown up for you. Pick up a newspaper once in a while, you know. Maybe speak to your parents about what they were like at your age and what they wish they knew as well. Because I was listening to LBC quite frequently, you know, I was watching the news a little bit. This led me to like be able to conversate with a lot of my teachers in primary school as well. And I'd ask them a lot more questions, you know. I'd ask them who they'd be voting for in the referendum. I'd ask them, you know, about what success means to them as well. Then we get into secondary school, and I find myself, especially during the coach year, I chill like a lot of the people in the year above us, the years older than us. Even in year 11, I was arguably chilling with the sixth formers in my school, more so than I was chilling with my own year group. So when you build up these connections and learning from older people, you can start to like fast track the process, because these are people that are gone through the same cycle as you generally, especially when they're only 1 to 2 years older than you. So they can give you a lot of wisdom so that you can avoid the missteps that they do as well. Talking to sixth formers at my school made me realize that do not leave choosing your sixth form until results day, or you're cut. Like, you have to put research into these things as well. Talking to business people will make you deep how much there is to learn, isn't there? And I'm sure it just gives you more maturity. That's why I feel like the biggest blessing here is having the mind of an old man in a young person's body. You know, you have all the wisdom and the experience of like people that have come before you, but you also have the energy, you know, the flexibility to adapt to challenges, and the youth and the zeal in order to pursue your passion to the utmost high. That's why I feel like it's such a God-given blessing to be young, because we can make any mistake here. People, unfortunately, do illicit substances. They smoke, they drink alcohol, and they don't see the effects for many years because the body is able to adapt to that. So imagine you use that productively, for example. You can literally absorb all the mistakes and make 10 times the amount of progress as well. So that's, I'd say, 2 things that I'm really grateful for that have happened in my life. The fact that I've always been comfortable talking to older people, and also the fact that I was exposed to a lot more grown-up things at a younger age.
Definitely. I think speaking to older people is one of the best ways to fast track your success, because they've been where you are now.
Yeah, and where you want to go.
Exactly. So working, in fact, my first client that I ever signed, he was a 60-year-old construction company owner. So he owned a construction company based in Kent, and I outreached to him via cold calling.
Sorry, how do you get the numbers generally when cold calling?
Yeah, so there is a software online called D7 Lead Finder. Essentially, it is a automated lead finder. So you put in the location that you want, and then you put in the niche that you want to find, and then it will give you a whole list of businesses in that area. It's amazing. It's an amazing software. So if you're looking to start your own agency, definitely use D7 Lead Finder.
Is it completely for free, or did you have to pay?
No, it's a paid service. So, but if you're really about business, if you're really about entrepreneurship, you know that it costs to be a boss. Everything has a cost to it. Even if you're not paying with money, you're gonna pay with time.
You want to spend money to make money.
Yes. And if it's not time or money, it's energy. So it's one of those 3 that you're gonna have to pay for. So yeah, D7 Lead Finder to find the lead. I cold called him. I spoke to him on the phone, and it's quite funny because I remember the first cold call that I had with him. He was quite abrupt with me, almost like he didn't want to speak to me. But he booked the meeting with me, regardless of him seeming abrupt.
So you still closed the deal?
Of course I closed the deal.
Harvey Specter?
I'm a deal closer. I'm a deal closer. That's what we do over here. So booked the meeting with him, had the meeting with him. He was an older guy in his 60s that owned a construction company for multiple decades, and he didn't know nothing about social media, how to run it. He actually said to me he hates social media, and I had to kind of reframe his mind and, in a sense, educate him. But the word I was looking for is manipulate. Now, this word, people tend to put this in a negative tone, but the word manipulate simply just means to change something. So when you're manipulating someone, you can manipulate them for bad or for good. In this light, I manipulated him to look at social media in a different light. I proposed to him that I can boost your business's sales using social media. So what I did to him, I said, okay, cool. We are going to do a 30-day free trial with me, so you can use my services for 30 days for free. And if you like it, we can carry on and we can keep going. And he said, no, I don't want to do that, Mark. Here's the cash right now. He paid me for the month's fee. He said, let's get started right now. And one lesson that I learned from him was seriousness and urgency. He was serious about integrating social media into his business, so serious that he didn't want to go through the free trial and all that. He just said, let's get straight into it. And that's the urgency that a lot of people, young people in fact, lack in life. They lack that urgency, maybe because he was older and he might know in the back of his head, he knows, okay, I'm coming to the end of my days. I need to move fast now. So he was like, no, Mark, let's get into it right now. He paid the monthly fee and we started working together.
I also feel like he might have done that as a bit of a challenge, you know. Yeah. He might be saying that, okay, this young hot shot, it's the deal closers coming through, wanting to, convince and change my mind about social media. So if I can give him the money and give him all he needs, and he still can't perform, that only serves to, strengthen his own beliefs, isn't it?
Exactly.
So how did you overcome that challenge?
I just delivered the goods. I delivered the goods, quite frankly. I did what I set out to do, which was manage his social media accounts, and he saw the fruits of my labour, and also I saw the fruits of my labour, and we started working together for about 2-3 months, but we then stopped working together because he was an old guy. He was entering retirement. He said, "Mark, you've helped me in the past couple months get some new clients, some more quotes from a construction company, but we're looking to close in the next year or so." So I had to let him go, but he left me a good review. If I was to call his phone right now, it would be a great conversation, and yeah.
Fair. So what exactly did you do in those 30 days? Because I saw a lot of people here that want to get into content creation. By the way, if you're looking at this camera and you think it's you, start right now.
Absolutely.
Like, pause the video. In fact, no, finish the podcast episode first because it's going to bang. Then post your first video. But what did you do in 30 days? Because that seemed like quite short time.
Yeah, it is, especially for content creation. It's definitely
less than 10% of the year.
It's a long-term investment. Content creation. It's a long-term marketing strategy, in fact. And yeah, so simply he had some images, some videos, some content that he had already taken when he was on jobs and that sort of thing. So he'd send me the content and I'd simply just post it on the accounts. That's all social media management really is. And yeah, and then I started getting more clients for that same service, social media management. But I realized quickly one thing, and that one thing was that yes, this is a scalable service that I'm providing because I can hire VAs, but it's not high ticket.
What's a VA?
VA is a virtual assistant. So you can hire virtual assistants in countries whereby the cost of living is a lot lower, so you can pay them a much
like a virtual
lower
call center.
Exactly. So you can pay them a much lower wage. So you've got countries like the Philippines, Pakistan, India, these type of countries. You can hire virtual assistants which will do basic admin tasks, social media management, even video editing. I've currently got a video editor that works for me in both of my businesses, and he's based in the Philippines.
So what did you realize then?
Yeah, so I realized that this service that I'm providing, I can scale it, I can hire a VA, I can get someone else to do the social media management, but I was charging between £300 to £500 for daily posts on the 2, maybe 3 social media platforms. For a month, yeah. So a monthly retainer. So a retainer is simply, we negotiate.
Subscription, right?
Yes, it's exactly like a subscription. So we agree on a price depending on how many posts you want, how many platforms, and then we would negotiate a contract of how long we're going to do this for. So I was charging between £300 to £500 for social media management, but I realised this is not high ticket enough. This is not like going to be lucrative for me in the long term. Sorry
for the non-business people here, because I watch a lot of Alex Formosi. What does high ticket mean?
High ticket is, it's a subjective term, because some people say a high ticket product is something which you're selling above £1,000. Some people say a high ticket product is something you're selling above £5,000. But essentially, high ticket just means something which the value that is perceived allows you to charge a higher price than the normal market.
So think, anyone can get, the £20 Casio watch, but a high ticket watch would be the Rolex.
Exactly.
Or the Armani that, my boys watch wearing right now. See, my wrist is quite skinny, but if you have any nice watch companies, sponsor me.
Sponsor him and sponsor me as well. Yeah, so when we were doing that, I had to realise that I need to be offering something that's high ticket. But I realised, okay, social media management is a very easy skill to acquire. Almost anyone our age, in our generation, can post content online and manage a social media page. So I realised, what can I do that's a slightly more high ticket?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I needed to develop a unique selling point, USP, which essentially just differentiates you from the competition. So what I realised was, working with my cousin, I'd also learned video editing, because I was editing the content to then post onto the social media pages. So then I changed my offer and started offering video editing, but then I struggled to get clients for that service. So then with my agency, kind of at a standstill. I was mainly just providing social media management, like I said, was not that lucrative for me. And fast forward to around the end of last year, 2023, I had then founded a record label called Retro Records. Some of you may know me for that. A lot of people know me a lot more for my record label than they do for my agency. And yeah, so we founded that. I have 2 partners in that business. And once we had founded that, we had realized, okay, one thing we need to do as a record label is start building up our social media platforms, which is where I specialize in.
So basically, you wanted to be the next GRM Daily, the next Mixtape Madness in a sense.
In a sense, yeah, definitely. So one thing we did was we started doing music videos. We actually have our own freestyle platform called Retro Freestyles, whereby people come onto our YouTube page, they record the song in our studio, they record under Retro Beats, which is made by one of my partners who's also a producer.
He goes by Retro, isn't it?
Yeah, prod.retro, you can check him out on Instagram. And yeah, so that's the freestyle platform that we started. Initially, we started doing these music videos for free. So this is called, I think it's called price penetration, where you start off really low, next to nothing. So it attracts loads of people to come to you. And then once you've got those people, then you can then sell them those higher ticket products like which you're selling. So
that's why Spotify do those 99p for 3 months.
Exactly, because it gets you hooked in, and then after the 3 months, you're like, wow, I can't live without the Spotify. Like, this has been amazing. And then you're gonna go pay that $9.99 a month. So that's what we did. So we started off initially offering these free music videos to rappers in our local area. We had the first shoot, we got free done. Had a second shoot, we got free done. And then things started to pick up, we started to get traction. And through that, what that meant was I actually gained another skill, which was videography. So I learned how to operate cameras, I learned about lighting, I learned a lot more about media. And of course, coupled that with my social media skills as well, like the social media management and the video editing, I became a lot more well-rounded in terms of social media and content creation.
Yeah, so if you're wondering why the setup's looking so buff, we have Mark to thank here. He also taught me a few things, so inshallah, no more issues with the audio. But there's a few things I'd like to touch on. So obviously, I went to school with you, Mark.
Yes.
But for those of you that are familiar with Retro Records, may not know that I also went to school with Retro and Ems as well, your 2 business partners.
Absolutely.
And, you know, a common trope in business, a proverb if you will, is don't mix friends and business. So why did you decide to go into business with friends that you've known for over 5 years? Yeah.
And the saying is also, it's extended as well, so it's don't mix friends with business. It's also don't mix friends or family with business. They're interchangeable, the friends and the family.
I would even say that when you've known someone for 5 years, they become the family you choose as well.
Exactly. Yeah, so don't mix friends or family with business. That's the common saying a lot of people have heard and a lot of people believe, but me and Jamal were talking about this off camera. I believe that's actually a fallacy and it's false. And the reason why I say so is because if you've created a genuine bond with someone, you know their ins and outs. Who's going to be a better business partner that you're going to take over the world with? You're going to make all these profits with, you're going to do all these things, you're going to do these marketing campaigns, you're going to make these sales. Why would you want to do it with a stranger? Why would you not want to do it with your family or a friend or a loved one? And people might say, oh, they're friends, family, they might snake you. If you're making loads of money, they might take the money or they might betray you. Well, I've got something to say to you. If someone's going to betray you, they're going to betray you. Regardless. It can be a friend, family, it can be a stranger. If someone has the intention in the back of their head to betray you, they're going to do it. So, why not get into business with your friend, and if they betray you, it was going to happen anyway. So you would have eradicated that problem in the future if you just got it done.
So we saying cut the tumour quick instead of letting it spread to every organ in the body.
Exactly.
But I would also say is that with your friends, there's a certain level of vulnerability you can have, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So much so that, let's say, obviously, I've never even been to the studio. I don't know none of these. But hypothetically, let's say one of your business partners becomes incompetent, but they're not living up to their desired role. Because you're equal partners, isn't it? Everyone gets 33.3%. The company shares, whatever. Would you be prepared to fire one of your business partners?
Well, I couldn't fire him because I'm not his boss.
Exactly. So my point is that, think about it. When there's that work-employee relationship or business partner, the transactional element becomes a lot more clear. You know, if I hire someone to, you know, start editing my TikToks and the views plummet, he knows he's done, isn't it?
Yeah.
When it's your boy, you know his issues, you know his struggles, and he's not living up to the job, how do you manage to maintain that professional element?
Yeah, well, I think it's just down to your own personal etiquette. So with us, we have weekly meetings that we do, and in the meetings, we keep it strictly business. After the meetings, we can talk about whatever, we can have fun, we can laugh, we can discuss whatever we want to discuss. But I think it just comes down to your etiquette and who you are and how serious you are. So you talked about what if one of my partners are being incompetent or they're slacking or they're not working or they're being lazy. We're going to talk about it in the meeting. We're going to talk about it. We're going to discuss it. We're going to go through the problems. And like I said, business is all about operations. So when you have all your operations listed out and you know, okay, this person has to do ABC, this person has to do ABC, this person has to do XYZ, it's very easy to differentiate, okay, this person's not fulfilling their role. It's all about people playing their roles. If everyone plays their role correctly, everything's perfect. And if someone's not playing their role, we're going to speak about it during the meeting. And we've all agreed that, hey, this is business, this is not personal. That's one of the key things in Rich Roy that we always say, that's one of our mantras. This is business, this isn't personal.
I like that rationality, that almost detached rationality you take with it. Even the PDF you sent me yesterday, like your business manifesto effectively, I showed it to my mom and she said that, you know, she can see you're a visionary, bro. And like, you've never met my mom in it, but my mom has the high standards. Like, being tall, yeah, if you're above 6 foot, you're tall, isn't it? My mom doesn't think you're tall unless you're 6'6". And I'm not talking about height, isn't it? So that's high praise.
Wait, what are you talking about height?
No, like, when I mean that, most people would consider 6 foot tall, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
My mom wouldn't say someone's tall unless they're 6'6".
Okay.
So like, when people ask me like, why are you always pushing for more? Why are you being ambitious? That's just a product of like, my mother always trying to instill me to aim for excellence.
Shout out to your mom.
For real, bro. Like, that's something that I feel like we've had in common as well. I've had like mothers supporting us for such a long time. So like, I admire that, you know, because we're both 18, we're born in the same month. Shout out October.
No, I'm November.
You're not born October 30th?
Nah.
My bad,
November, bro.
So I'm older than you.
Yeah, you are.
So good respect. My point is that I love the professionalism you're able to entail. And it's even made me start considering that, you know, I want to expand J5 studies, you know, into more of a corporate entity in the future. So it's helping me to start mapping out the steps I want to take as well. So you started this record label, yeah?
Yes.
What does it look like day to day with the business operations?
Yeah, it's pretty simple from my standpoint because it's exactly what I do within my agency. The skills.
Sorry, what is your exact role as well? Like, how would you?
Okay.
What is your job? Like, what's it called?
My role is I'm the operations manager. Also manage the finances of the business. So I send out all the invoices, make sure we're getting paid. You know what I'm saying? If you owe us money, I'm gonna get that money. I will make sure that we get the invoices paid. I'm gonna make sure that the rent's paid. I'm going to make sure that all the tasks are being completed, keep things structured, because both my partners, Ems, the rapper, he is a creative. And my other partner, Rich Roy, which is the producer, he's a creative. So I'm like they've got like architecture minds, I've got an engineering mind. So I'm more like, okay, we need this to be 2 meters that way so that the building don't fall. And they're just kind of like trying to map it out and make it look beautiful.
Okay, so you're creating like an environment for them to facilitate their creativity, isn't it? You don't want them worrying about Oh, is the rent paid? Oh, am I getting studio time? No, you saw all of that so that they can do their thing.
Exactly. I just make sure that the structure is there, the operations are in place, everything's running smoothly so that they can focus on the art. So that's why I talk about different roles. Everyone needs to play their role. And I think that's an issue that a lot of people have in life. Like they're not clear on what their role is. And even if they are clear on their role, they're not playing it correctly. Like we used to play on the same basketball team. Like the reason why we might lose certain games or we might not win in the way that we want to win is because someone on that team, it might just be one person on that, out of five people.
Exactly what you're talking about.
Out of 5 people on that call, maybe just one player is trying to do a crazy. He's trying to score the 3-pointers, but he just missed 5, but he's still shooting, and it's like, nah, give the ball to him because he's our point. So it's when someone's playing out of position, everything will fall. So with any business, whether it be a record label, whether it be an agency, whether it be a construction company, you need a team and there needs to be structures and everyone needs to play their role within that team.
Yeah, because if we're not playing our roles, we're not making money. If we're not making money, then we're not sharing money with each other, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I definitely agree with that. So wherever your priorities lay then in terms of your business endeavors, like what's a bigger focus for you right now? The record label or SMMA?
I don't run an SMMA, I run a content creation agency.
Apologies.
Content creation agency. That's for all the business owners out there. I run a content creation agency. Shout me if you need any of my services. And we're going to talk a little bit more about what that is. So what is more important to me? What is more important to me is God is the most important thing to me.
Of course.
That's the most important thing.
All praise to the Most High.
Yeah. And for me, it's not a thing where it's like Retro Records is more important than my agency, because it's like the last 3 months I've been a lot more time focused. I put a lot more of my time and energy into Retro Records because we've just opened up a brand new studio 2 months ago. We've had to get a lot of things off the ground. The business just got incorporated 3 months ago. We've had so much things go on.
Serious movement.
Thank you. We've had so much things go on in the last 6 months when we started on December 31st, when we posted the first promo video. So much things have gone on. A lot of my time and energy has been put into Retro Records, but my agency it means a lot to me. It's got my last name in it. It's Chikowe Agency. It means a lot to me, obviously. It's got my last name attached to it. So it's not a thing where one's more important than the other. It's just a thing whereby I have to allocate times to both the businesses and make sure that they're both doing well. And one thing I do love about running Retro Records is that I'm doing it with people that I love. I'm doing it with my business partners, and I know that they're there for me and I'll be there for them. So even if it's a thing whereby my agency's taking a toll on how much time I can put into the Retro Records business, the record label, I know that they can maybe fulfill that role. They can kind of fill in for me. And that's one great thing that I would say is the big difference between my agency and the record label, is that I've got partners that I can rely on them. If I'm not there, we did an event at our studio. We had about 15 people come through to the event and I wasn't there, but my partners were there and they made things run smoothly. And that's a beautiful thing. Having a team where people can play their roles, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I guess that's the beauty in like the strongest friendships as well. Because like I said, it's literally the family you choose as well. And you're not only able to like connect to them emotionally and share aspiration, but you're not able to break bread with each other basically.
Yeah.
When your pockets are up, everyone's pockets are up as well. And I feel like this draws parallels as well, because when you hear of guys signing up record labels, Jay-Z, he's cancelled now, but P. Diddy, Drake and OVO, all these people are like 20s, You're 18, bro.
I am 18.
18, yeah. We all were at STM together.
Do you know what?
Bro.
One of my business partners, when we first got the company incorporated, he was actually 17 years old. And imagine we were applying for business bank accounts because we needed somewhere to put all the funds. We were applying for business bank accounts and we got declined by one bank. I'm not going to say the bank because
they know.
I don't like you guys over. But listen, I applied for this one business bank account with this one bank and they actually declined us simply because he was 17. It's crazy. But yeah, it's all about having a team. It's all about having a team and people playing their roles. I think when everyone plays their roles, life is sweet.
So where do you see Ritual Records and your content creation agency going in the future?
Just scaling it up and delegating tasks. I'm going to be hiring a lot of people to fulfill the day-to-day tasks so that I can operate in the business from a more managerial standpoint, meaning that I'm just managing things, maybe taking some sales calls and just making the big plays. Just phone calls. You see all the biggest businessmen, they're not like in their business, they're not in like, and what the guy that owns the McDonald's isn't in the McDonald's cooking the fries. He's just managing, he's just taking phone, he's just making sure that everything's going in place. He's making sure that the operations, the tasks, things are being completed in the right manner. And that's how I'm going to take both these businesses.
One thing that also has come to me as well was that what's the company culture you're trying to curate at Ritual Records and at your content creation agency?
Yeah, I can talk a lot more about about Ritual Records in terms of this because we've actually got
more energy into that.
I've put more energy and I've got partners, so we already have developed. Sense. It's hard to have a culture when it's only you in the business. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then it's just like personal beliefs and morals. But culture in Ritual Records, speed is a big thing. Andrew Tate, don't know if I'm not meant to say his name. Emery Tate, we'll call him Emery. Mr. Tate taught me one key thing. One key thing Mr. Tate taught me is speed. Speed is everything. I used to do a bit of boxing. I still do a bit of boxing here and there, training and that sort of thing. And people get scared. And I've done a lot of sparring. I've sparred with a lot of people, some professionals, some good amateurs, that sort of thing. And one key thing that people...
Mayweather Mark.
Mayweather Mark, that's a new name. Either call me Money Mark or Mayweather Mark, right? That's the two names, that's one of the names. Double M. But listen, one key thing that beginners always get scared about power. They always get scared about getting hit hard. They're like, oh my gosh, I don't want someone to hit me in the face really hard. You shouldn't be fearful when you step in that ring, but if you're gonna fear something in that ring, it's not the guy with power, it's the guy with speed. Because the guy with speed will hit you when you're not even, you won't even see the punch, boom, it just lands. And the punch that knocks people out isn't the punch that was thrown the hardest, that has the most power. It's the punch that you didn't see, because it's unexpected.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And this applies to business as well, because in business, if you don't move with speed, the competition is going to kill you. Let me give you an example. So, we've opened up our brand new studio 2 months ago. 2 months ago. We've been operating as a business. We were registered 3 to 4 months ago. We registered in April. Yeah, we opened our studio within 1 month of being a registered company. I was on Facebook Marketplace looking for garages to maybe potentially create a studio. I found a place on Monday. I messaged the guy on Facebook Marketplace. I said, hey, have you got a viewing on Friday? Because Friday I was free. Have you got a viewing on Friday? I spoke to my business partner, another one of my business partners, Ems. He was down in America. He was doing schooling there and living out there. So I spoke to my other business partner. I said, hey, are you free on Friday? We've got a viewing. He said, yes. I said, cool. We went to the viewing on Friday. We viewed the space on Friday. We got the keys on Saturday. The following day, within 6 days, I managed to get the keys. Me and my team managed to get the keys for a brand new studio, and we've only been operating as a business for less than 3 months now. If I did not move with speed, if I was being iffy, if I was being on edge, we would have never got this studio. Now this studio is extremely lucrative for us. It's bringing us in cash, and it's really key. It's growing our business. People don't just look at us as, oh, they've just got a YouTube page and an Instagram. No, we have a physical business. We have a physical place of business. We have something that's generating us cash constantly. And that was all because I moved with speed. Now, if you want to get into business or even anything you want to do in life, if you're not moving with urgency and speed, forget about it.
Yeah, I know you mentioned AT, but even on Nike's like OG Manifesto, I think one of the bullet points, like they had like a 10 commandments that one of them was that speed is everything.
Yes.
And even when I'm trying to like start this podcast, because this has been in like my mind since like year 12, bro. As soon as summer hit, yeah, I literally booked the studio. and I started getting guests in as well. You know, I shouted you to be on the pod potentially a few weeks ago, and then you even told me that you saw the first episode next week, the week afterwards. So my point is like, yeah, you shouldn't try and delay things. There's a hadith by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So if you don't know, a hadith is basically like a saying by like the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which is that the two biggest blessings people waste are youth and time. And that's literally what we have in abundance right now. So like, yeah, I feel like we shouldn't try and delay things. Like, I was on the basketball court today, yeah, and you know, I was low-key thinking of procrastinating because, you know, to come to the studio today, be with Mark, and I was thinking, oh, should I go train or not? And then I went there, yeah, and I thought came up to me was that you never regret the work that you get done. You only regret the work that you put off. Because yesterday, yeah, I think, you know, my mum cooked salmon, you know, it's busting, and like, I left the plate there, and I was thinking, oh, should I wash it now? Should I wash it later? So I went to sleep and I woke up and the plates were still there. So I was just thinking like, why did I not just wash it sooner? Yeah. You get what I'm trying to say? It's like, hard work is like medicine for you because it's good for you, innit? But it's a better tasting medicine. So you don't want to prolong the taste, prolong withholding yourself from that taste because it's always going to taste bitter, isn't it? But the sooner you take it, the sooner you do the work that you're procrastinating, yeah, the sooner you can reap the benefits, the sooner you can get the scaling and get the cash in, the sooner I can have a repertoire of episodes in order to attract other guests as well. Like, I'm trying to get in, so I was at like this residential with like high ticket people, as you'd say, like high status people. And I got one of the speakers to be a guest here, and the first thing he asked me was like, can you show me the episodes that you've done before? So if I had not like been like, oh, I want to start this podcast thing, I've literally got a studio, I'm booking episodes, I'm releasing them, I'd have nothing to show him, bro.
Yeah.
I literally have to be like, oh, well, you know, I haven't done this before, we're still getting running things. He's going to see that I'm on serious and he's going to move on. But when you do things, yeah, even if it's not perfect first time, it shows that you have a history. And it's not ever, and it's never ever about where you start, bro. It's about where you finish.
Yeah.
And you can't keep on moving forward if you're not moving. So even if you're crawling, even if you're not in the position you want to be in, just put one foot in front of the other every day. Like, moving at a very, very slow speed is better than staying stagnant.
Yeah, that's 100% true. That is 100% true. And even in today's day and age of social media, it's so fast paced. You know, you're on TikTok, you're scrolling, it's so quick. And that's where I'm looking to take my agency now. So obviously I've developed the skills of video editing, videography, and social media management. And I also create my own content as well as content for Retro Records, which is the record label. And yeah, I'm releasing a new service called the Content Creation Package, whereby I'll be offering all three of those services in one package to businesses, coaches, and consultants.
So what kind of people should be interested in this package?
Business owners, coaches, and consultants.
That's very fair.
Yeah.
So where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram, my full name, Mark Chikowe, and you can also find me on LinkedIn as well, my full name, Mark Chikowe. And if you want to be cheeky and watch my YouTube page, I will be getting a lot more active on there. You can find me at Mark Chikowe.
Is there any final thoughts you want to leave the audience with? He's thinking.
My final thoughts to the audience will be that, and I'm going to say it collectively because I think sometimes we all forget this, but we need to stop living like we've got another life. We need to stop living like we can press pause on this and then rewind it back to the last. No, like we've only got one of these lives. We need to stop living like we've got another one at the end of it. Like you're going to die on Call of Duty and you're going to respawn that. That's not happening. Like, we only have one of these lives and we need to live it like that every single day and push it to the limit and keep God first. Jesus King.
Not sure about the last bit, but put God first. Alhamdulillah. It's been a pleasure having you, Mark, and connecting with you again.
Thank you very much for having me on the podcast. And guys, if you need any social media content creation services, be sure to message me on Instagram. I'll be active on there. And yeah, Take care.